Thing about Cole, Pat, is like you'll do a bunch of it. Maybe it'll go great, but you're not gonna wake up next week jonesing to do it again.
That's exactly right. Yeah, when you bet Eric Cole and it doesn't go well and you don't have the best time, when you're sweating and you're up all night, I'm not wanting to be there next Thursday morning being like, man, give me some more Eric Cole. And I'm like, no, I'm done with that. That's good enough.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog Charles Schwab Challenge. Picks, bets, preview, one and done, plus a recap of the PGA Championship. Smash the like, sub to the channel, and use code MAYO at Underdog right now. It'll help you out. Trust me. Get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000 and a free pick in the Pick'em game. Scottie Scheffler wins second tournament in a row, third major championship. I lost money. I assume basically everyone lost money, although your Neiman top 10 came in. Congratulations.
And I'd have lost my shirt last week without it, so it's not like it was gravy. But the Neiman ladder outside the very top of the ladder did quite well, Pat. And like it's a nothing burger, but it's just important it happened. It's just important it happened. Like, say there's a quarterback who can't win in the playoffs, and then they finally win wild card weekend and get their ass kicked the second round. Did they win anything? No. But there's all these people who are like, that quarterback will never do anything, has never done anything. So I'll be like, oh, okay, he made progress. So progress made, and bigger things coming for Yako. We could get into it, but like, I'll be honest. I'm sitting with my friends last night. Long day. PGA Championship, daughter's 9th birthday, a Leafs game 7. You could see I'm not wearing the Leafs at all. Like, it doesn't wear on me that they lost. But I'm sitting there in a corner of a hangout, like angry tweeting, fighting about Neiman. I'm more angry about people mad at me for enjoying Neiman than whatever was happening in that pathetic hockey game. So that's me. That's how I roll. Bigger and better coming for Yako.
I put it out, and it's not exactly like a apples v. apples circumstance, but I just remember this discourse around Reed, because you and I loved Reed so much, and he wasn't like an absolute loser at majors. Like, he had a bunch of top 30s, but just never sniffing contention, never had a top 10. And then he actually went into Quail Hollow in 2017 and churned out the first top 10 in a major in his career, and then boom, we wait the winner, he comes back at the Masters, and he wins. Like, when you look at it, and Byron usually breaks this down a little bit better as well, that basically, if you haven't finished at least second in a major, it's really tough for you historically to end up in the winner's circle. I think the last two to do it would be Harman and Wyndham Clark. Wyndham Clark is the last guy without a top 10 previously in a major to win, but almost everyone else. And that's a part of how good the major winners have been when you look at the past 6 of them. What's it been? It's been Scottie, Rory, Xander, Bryson, Xander, Scottie, and then Harman to go back to the Open. So the past 6 major winners have been from that group of 6 to 8 guys that we identify that can win a major. But if you don't have a top 10 previously, it just gives me no confidence. That was all my beef with Neiman all week when people were betting him to win. It's not that he can't win or will never win. It's just I needed to see him do something first. And he was never in contention in this tournament. But that little yellow box on his Wikipedia page is going to do a lot of heavy lifting for him now.
Yeah, it's going to mean a lot. Is his chipping good enough? His short game good enough for the test that Oakmont is? We will see. But listen, we had to start somewhere. And obviously, I'm one of these people that has shown him a lot of grace. His development was like very different from pretty much every golfer we cheer for, Pat. Like, look at all those guys, all these great golfers. Like, right now, college golf, 6, 7, 8 years ago, was preparing golfers to run out of tunnels like they're football players or NBA players getting drafted near the top of the draft. There was no more, like, development curve. Guys were just awesome instantly. This is like a Chilean who didn't go to college, just became a pro golfer. I don't know that he grew up dreaming of major championship success. He just wanted to be a pro golfer. Right? These other guys grew up wanting to win majors. He just wanted to be a pro. Live, it clearly stunted the growth. It killed a couple years. In the same way, we'll talk about John Rahm. There was a bit of a stunt in a transition, the stunt was bigger for Neiman because he'd never done anything, period. It was a hindrance to his ability to develop major championship moxie in a window. And he did great things by even getting into majors where other live players who weren't warranted in them were there. So he's 25. There's still so much time to become the player or achieve what I think he's capable of. But it's just crazy to me that it felt like people also want to draw conclusions about a guy. We say it a lot, Pat, but golfers just, they develop differently. And when I first started being a golf fan, like, you weren't even held to a standard in majors until you were 28. Everything before you were 28 was, just to prepare you for being able to win them when you got to about 30. Obviously, the sport has changed immensely. The sport has changed immensely, but maybe he is just developing on a different path. And I don't think it's an outlandish thing to say because that he is going to continue to achieve high things in majors. This is the starting point. It's going up. It's going up. I will lose money on it going forward again.
Who do you think wins a major first? Neiman or Ludwig? Or Victor?
I'm flattered that he's part of this. Maybe because maybe because
we're talking about him too, and I'm putting him up against your two other guys that you love. Who, I mean, it's not
same ages. Victor's Ludwig's 24. I mean, that's a crazy thing. Ludwig and Neiman are like the same age.
It's funny to think about that, and then you're like, oh yeah, Scottie's 28. He might look like he's 45, but he's only 28.
Yeah. Like, Ludwig and Neiman are the same age. Like, where Neiman might have been if he went to Texas. I don't know, but he made a lot of money. He made the right decision. You tell a guy to enter for the draft because he's going to go top 3. And if he goes back to school, he might go in the second round, like that corner from Michigan this year. You enter the draft. You enter the draft. And Neiman said, no, I'm going to enter the draft. They're letting me play. Who's going to win a major first? I'm going to say Ludwig.
I think I would too. I think his overall top end skill set is going to be, and he's not, it feels like Neiman is, like you said, there's still onwards and upwards for him in time to get better. But it does feel like we know the player that he is, a lot similar to Vic. Like, Vic's only 27 as well. That we know where he struggles. We know what he does well. It does feel like there's the level that, like, Ludwig's been on. This is his second full year on the PGA Tour. Been playing for 2.5 now after getting that exemption, just to kind of like Clinton, where he just became a pro and then he was thrust in here, and he's achieved so much so quickly that I think that we forget that although he's a year younger than Neiman, just his experience in pro golf just doesn't match up to where Neiman's at. And even someone like Akshay, who's like 22, has more pro experience than Ludwig does. So it does feel like if he levels up, and I'm not saying that he will, he may not. This just might be who he is. That if he levels up, then all of a sudden he basically takes Xander's spot in the top of the world discussions. Like, you're going to have Scottie, you're going to have Rory, you're going to have Bryson. Rahm is going to be around there. Like, who is going to be that next guy? Right now it's Xander. I could see it being Ludwig.
It probably is Ludwig. And let's, come on. People are probably yelling at the screen. Ludwig, his first ever major, he finished second. Victor Hovland went to the 100th Open Championship, having never done anything in majors at the birthplace of golf, and was mixing with Rory and Cam, right? Then he went to Oak Hill. Like, they have tasted smoke. Like, Neiman, I'm giving him props for his T10, which was an 8-way chop in 8. Like, so I'm even, it is what it is, but it's still progress. And he still got, he has to taste smoke, but I see the talent. So I'm just in. I didn't mean to do this right away.
No,
but other than Scottie winning, it felt like it was the big story. Even going into yesterday, I'm like, this tournament's over. The player of the day for me needs to be, other than this tournament being over, the storyline for me is Yako creating the new talking point. There's still talking points to bash him for, but it's creating a new one. And I'm naive enough to believe, Pat, if Yako was a week in, week out PGA Tour player, he would be priced in that 25, 20, 28, 22 to 1 every time the guys got together.
He'd be the same as Tommy Fleetwood in terms of odds. That's just where he would linger on the board, I feel like, with the ability to go higher because he actually has 2 PGA wins.
I do agree. And listen, Tommy, like, there have been moments where things have been taken from him. You know, like Scottie took that Olympics. But there have been times on the 18th hole, Palm Beach, Canada, where Tommy has just not met the moment. That being said, maybe I'm wrong, I'm fair. Like, the reason I kind of love Tommy so much, even like when we first kind of met him, was he felt like a great overachiever.
Agreed.
Like he just like you just look at him, he was a late bloomer, like everything that was happening. You just look at the body and the guys around him, like, this guy is such an overachiever. It'd be lovely. I want him to win. Neiman, you know, it'd be more like, what an underachiever if he didn't get it done, if that makes any sense.
I would tend to agree with you. Yeah. Fleetwood felt like and we met him a lot younger than I think that we thought that he was. I think that we kind of assumed he was in his like early 30s when we met him, and he wasn't. And I remember very vividly betting him at, where did he come T6? Was it Aaron Hills he came T6? Just like having watched him on Euro and being like, all right, this guy's pretty good. Like tee to green, he's awesome, but he doesn't pump it 350. He's great with his irons. He's great in the wind. Struggles, mightily with the putter from time to time, but he's been very good around the greens. He's just a solid player overall, and you just don't see like Scottie's game is really Fleetwood's game, but it's times 5. Like that's why Scottie's so good, because he does everything well. Tommy does everything well too, just not. How am I trying to phrase this to make it a little bit easier to think about? Because I mean, that comparison seems really weird.
He's like a well-rounded player, but Scottie has the well-roundedness, but like the ceiling of a tiger at moments.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, Scottie's approach is just so much better than everyone else's. I mean, I want to go back to Scottie. There's not a lot of talking points when Scheffler wins. He didn't go off as the favorite, which is kind of crazy to think about, that Rory ended up sneaking ahead of him, and Rory just did not have it this week. And all the talk was about Rory's driver. It was an illegal driver. He had to switch. And then it came out after the tournament that the same thing happened to Scheffler, which is hilarious.
Incredible.
That he had a new driver in the bag because his didn't conform to whatever standards there was. I mean, I don't care enough about this stuff to really dig in, but what I can glean about this driver situation is that they don't even check everyone. It'd be like testing people in the Olympics for steroids, but only testing 5% of the field. I mean, in NASCAR, they take everything to like the millimeter for every race on these drivers to figure out if it's in compliance or if it's not. You'd think with a driver, the club that's probably going to be used the most after a putter in a golf tournament, there's 156 dudes. How long does it take to test these drivers? Like 30 seconds?
I'm not sure. I would just say, like, NASCAR's like 28 cars in the race. It's like an airport. It's like random pull-asides with the driver, right?
No,
like,
but they test everyone in the NASCAR field.
Yeah, I know, but it's only 28.
Sure, but I would have to imagine checking a NASCAR, a stock car, for compliance takes way more time than testing a driver.
Oh, for sure. Because there's probably like 15 different parts of the car they're checking for compliance.
Correct. I think. That's my guess on what happens in NASCAR.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems random. It seems rather innocent. I like you, not really understanding much about the issue. I am one of these people that vehemently believe, separate issue, that pro golfers should not have the same sweet spots on their driver heads or club faces that I have access to as a 16 handicap who just wants to make the game more enjoyable. That's what those forgiving faces should be for. Not for pros to hit it off any part of the face and still get away with it. Like, that is what's ruining the game. We are in the steroid equipment era. I think history will laugh at us. I really do. History will laugh at what we allowed to happen and what we stood by and supported to a lesser degree. Not us, but the people who made these decisions. But these issues with the conformity seem to come from, like, you could hit it 1,003. It was good on your like 998th strike, but by your 1,005th strike, it is no longer conforming.
That's what Scottie said. Scottie's whole point was it was fine, but he's like, the more you use a driver, I guess the less in compliance it becomes. So just he got to the point where it crossed over the threshold.
Is that it's like a softball bat.
I guess so.
Like,
I figured. I mean, just to think about it logically, you think it would go the other way.
you would think, but sometimes, like, I've used to play in like the baseball scene. Like the bats when they were fresh were not as good, but you like
Get 'em
got
worn
some
in.
heat on them, and then they were, it unleashed like the rocket launch technology in there. I am not.
So what
I'm
you're
not
hold on.
from-
What you're
I
saying
need
is that
all
I
the
need to hit my
drivers I can get.
I need to hit my 4-iron more often. Then I'll actually start to hit it well and not just right in front of me.
Yeah, I could see guys like getting 800 cuts from their drivers today, thinking they're like just a couple more away from unlocking nonconformity. Like they're just dudes whacking at the range.
You don't want to see dudes.
Scottie's a big problem.
You do not want to see dudes whacking at the range. That is not the place for whacking. I'm just throwing that out there, right? That's not what I want to see at the range. My range is closed right now. It sucks so badly. They're redoing the range because they had to build more. They had to dig out some of the lakes to make them deeper to hold more water because some like weird city rule that they can't draw from the actual lake that it's on because of environmental protections. I mean, I'm good with draining the other lake. It doesn't really bother me all that much, but we have a water problem in like the middle of the summer and everything gets burnt out. So they're really working on building new stuff, but they had to put all the dirt onto the range and then they still have to go and sod it. So you can go out and hit the ball like 120 yards, which is not great for a very driver heavy course. Like you want to get a few driver swings in, I feel like, before you hit the first tee. So my drives on one, I played 3 times in the last week. I've made a 7, an 8, and a 7 on the opening par 4 just by losing balls off the tee. It sucks.
I got friends who need to work the whole bag. I'm not gonna lie, it's sort of like a defense mechanism. I'm not even hitting the range. Let me screw up the first, I'll use the first 3 holes to warm up.
That's what I did with you last year
deal.
when I played. I made a 7 on number 1 after being like 110 out in the middle of the fairway. That was no fun.
We will do it again soon. But listen, like the jokes are easy. It's not like Neiman is above being made fun of, but I just felt like had he shat the bed yesterday and finished T47, the knives would have been out.
Disagree.
Like,
no, disagree. The problem with Neiman is that no one cares enough. Like it's a story if he gets there, I think, because so many people want to either rally around him or they have the complete opposite reaction where they want to see him do poorly. But I think if he's just out of it, no one cared that Hatton was 6 over yesterday. Like it's not a big deal to anyone. It's like whatever. He had a bad day. He wasn't in contention. Who cares?
I guess. And Hatton to a lesser degree, right? He's got a lot of that major championship record bugaboo that he's slowly been trying to check off.
But his have weirdly been like he's performed well at the Open in the past. He's performed well at the US Open in the past. It was really the Masters that was the problem for him. And that he's starting to get over a little bit now.
You're right. Yeah. Listen, hopefully he could like stack some T20s and better. And it's just like a non-story and he just becomes like the story is just more of his underachieving in winning and not about like the guy is afraid to play in major championships.
It's difficult to talk about Scottie in a sense, but it's so weird to see him. And we've seen this a few times, or less so in major championships, but in some bigger tournaments. But the stretch that he played, like the final 7 holes that he played on Saturday, won him the tournament. Wasn't even close. It was the best. I mean, only Noren could stand up to him in that stretch where Noren was chipping in and making every 30-foot putt. Scottie didn't have to do it that way. There was 2 shots on Saturday. And obviously one was the drive on the par 4 that left him 2 feet for eagle.
14.
And that was the most... Like when you look at strokes gained, I think he gained like 1.6 strokes on the field with that one drive alone. That was great. His best shot, like the most difficult shot that he hit, because guys are just taking a rip at their driver at that. He hit it perfectly. I'm not going to say it wasn't a good shot. It was a fantastic shot. But degree of difficulty, you put him up there with the same swing, the same drive 10 times, like one of them ends up in the bunker. One of them takes a Rahm. People were saying Rahm got a bad bounce on 14 on Sunday because it rolled into the bunker.
But-
It wasn't a bad bounce. It landed on a downhill. Like, that's where it was. It's not like it landed in the middle of the green and then bounced to the right. He hit it on a downslope, angling towards the bunker, and it went into the bunker. It was unfortunate that it didn't land 3 feet to the left, and then it would have rolled out. I agree. But it's not a bad break. He just hit it in the wrong spot.
Definitely, if that's where the ball lands, the range of outcomes is the sidekick. So people shouldn't be shocked. I don't think it was as bad of a bounce. All that to say is Rahm, I do believe, got some unfortunate breaks. What felt like, at least to my eyes, knowing nothing, that he hit beautiful shots. The one on 14 you just spoke about, the approach into 15, I thought he got a bad break on, and there was another. So I thought he was, but that's golf. He was hitting the ball lovely, and in his own way, was important for him to, do something in major championships. I think he's just an absolute monster for Oakmont. That's no hot take, no surprise. But Scottie is just what he did on Saturday. I was doing a live odds checker spaces on Saturday at 6:30. He was like minus 110 when I went on the air. By the time Bryson was still like 11-1. By the time it was over, Scottie was like minus 400. Bryson was 28. It was a golf masterclass. What happened there on Saturday?
Bryson's right now, I'm looking at it. Do you see any numbers better than 11-1 for the U.S. Open for Bryson? Because I'm thinking about just betting him now.
I haven't totally looked, but that sounds about right, like 11, 12. He's still the third guy, and U.S. Open factor may make him, more desirable.
Yeah, I'm seeing 9-1 as right around the best number for him in a lot of spots. So I might just take that now. At CoolBet, it's 11-1. I don't want to have to play the game where when it comes around to the week, he's maybe I lose a few points here and there. Like, that would suck at 11-1 that he goes off at 14. But I think it's far more likely that he goes off at 7 than he would at 14. And then I'm using 7, but then I have to use a boost to get him back up to 9.5. When I could have just had him at 11 right now. I could have had him at a better number earlier than this, but I don't. So this is where I'm at. As someone who bet Bryson and basically watched every single stroke of him, I have a few takeaways on him. And one is he should have won this tournament by a lot. He should have shot 62 on Saturday. But I think we've spoken about it before, that going to Live and hosting YouTube golf is so much better for Bryson, the personality, than anything that he could have ever done. Because if you had to watch this guy week in and week out on the PGA Tour, everyone would hate his guts again. He's he's the worst version of Spieth when he's on the course. Like, dude, you hit a bad fucking shot. It's not the club every single time. Eventually, it's how you fucking hit it.
So it became pretty apparent after his year one on Live that him on Live was actually perfect for everyone. Not only him, but also us. 4 times a year, enough.
It's electric.
How do you miss Bryson? It's impossible to miss Bryson. He's on the internet. Like, he's easy to find. It's not like none of those other top guys took Phil's advice and do what he does in terms of using their likeness and their image in ways the PGA wouldn't allow them to. So he has done it, but I never miss him. I've never one time missed him on the PGA Tour. Maybe there's others. Like, I'm not doubting he could add some, pizzazz to an event. You just think of like what he would try to do at Bay Hill and how fun that could be again. But never once. In fact, when major weeks are over, you're like exhausted of him. We all have a friend. Like, we all have this friend. I have a friend. I love him. The best guy. But after like enough time together, like, I'm done. I don't want to see you for a month. You've worn me the fuck out. But guess what? That day where we're getting together a month later, I'm like fired up for that day. I'm excited again. That's Bryson.
I have a friend, we grew up with him, and he basically looks like Bryson, so it's kind of hilarious to think about it that way, but he's exactly the same. I see him 3 times a year, I see him for 6 hours, and capped out. That's enough. And I get excited to see him the next time that I see him. I spend 3 days with the guy. I'm like, man, I can't see you for 2 years. Like I've reached my threshold. And Bryson has entered that zone. Like, it's exhausting just watching him mope and complain when things aren't going right. And he played great most of the week, but there's only so many times I can watch you hit the ball to 80 yards and you're hitting a gap or a lob wedge. Everyone else is hitting a 3 hybrid in or a 5 iron in, and they're putting it closer than you are. Like, what are you doing? Maybe spend a little bit less time on the driving range and maybe hit the chip-in range.
I saw it. It was frustrating. I also saw, on that note, Chambly last night.
What are you watching this guy for?
I'm not. It was just Golf Channel was on. I wasn't watching the hockey highlights or anything like that.
Let's go!
Listen, I'm not happy that it's over because it's just an exhausting vibe in the city.
Well, it's good, too. That means if people do still want to come to the live show on June 7th, the Leafs will not be in the Eastern Conference Finals, which means that hotels much, much cheaper downtown Toronto at this point. I think they were starting to price that in just a little bit. Had they have won, they would have went through the roof. That's not the case. Buy your tickets right now, June 7th, Saturday in Toronto, PME Live, Cust Corner with me, Geoff and Cust, Cam, Rob, and Garion. Everyone's going to be there. Hit the description right now. You can find the link to the details. Sorry for cutting you off. I had to throw in a promo.
No, we appreciate it. Come again as we get closer. Cust keeps telling us he's never doing it again. So once in a lifetime, friends.
And we're doing the schedule show tonight for tomorrow, if people are wanting to know.
That should be good. Steelers Jets week 1.
Cust's going to be in studio.
Be up there.
He's going to be in studio too. Underdog just dropped their playoff basketball promo. With the extender, you can play your way to increasingly bigger boosts each round of the playoffs. Start a playoff series by using your Game 1 boost and continue boosting each subsequent game to unlock the next one. The longer the series, the bigger the boost. You're going to want to see how serious it gets when Game 7 hits. Hop on Underdog, the best place to make picks during playoff basketball, and you can get started right now by using code Mayo at Underdog to get yourself a deposit bonus of up to $1,000 and a free pick in the Pick'em game. Go Extender at Underdog. You ever feel like car shopping's designed to make you second guess yourself? Is this a good price? Am I making the right choice? I mean, I don't know the answer to these questions, but with CarGurus, you don't have to wonder. They have the most inventory of new and used cars, so you can find the best deal. It's just going to be there on the screen for you. And with unbiased deal ratings, price drop alerts, and in-depth vehicle reviews, you'll make a decision you can feel great about because a big deal should never feel like a big risk. That's why you're watching this show, for Big Risk. If you want something that is a bit more solid, that's going to get you plus EV, that is going to be CarGurus. CarGurus will connect you with trusted dealerships when you're ready, ensuring a transparent and hassle-free buying process. It's no wonder SimilarWeb estimated traffic data shows CarGuru is the #1 most visited car shopping site. So, buy or sell your next car today with CarGurus at CarGurus.com. Go to CarGurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CarGurus.com. CarGurus.com.
So Chambly was going on a rant, and like I wanted to agree with him, but in my head, I'm like, is this actually true? Like, I don't know that it's true. And he was picking on John Rahm and Bryson and essentially saying Liv doesn't prepare them for the moments. Like the pin positions, the environments, like say what you want about Liv. It is undeniably like the vibe, the intensity is significantly lower than like a week out PGA Tour event. And he cited all these specific shots. And then, like, to pick on Bryson, like, the way Bryson has played in majors, like, leave him out of this.
Yeah, guy came T2.
Out of this.
He came T2. And,
right. And even...
Go ahead.
But even, like, with Liv, like, we saw right out of the gate, Brooks mix in a Masters, win a PGA. Maybe no one won anything in year two, but Bryson last year mixes in the PGA, wins a U.S. Open. And then this year, like, you know, Bryson, Rahm, mix. I don't remember. Did anyone in Liv do anything at the Masters? It doesn't. Really
Bryson was in the final group.
Oh my God!
Reed came in second, I think.
But then Chambly was even citing the Olympics and like how Rom faltered down the stretch at the Olympics and blamed it on Liv. I don't know. You're right. Why am I even watching that or bringing it up? And like as someone who fucking hates Liv, holds no secret about it, like in totality, while loving individuals there as a concept, as a body, despised by me. I wanted to agree with him, but I'm like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, watch the shots on 14. Watch the shot into the green on 15. Those were almost hit exactly how he wanted them to hit. And, they just, whether unlucky, bad break, or just like they were so close to being perfect shots. I don't know what that has to do with Liv.
It doesn't. And maybe it's the actual conditions. Maybe that's part of the Niemann stuff as well, that Niemann's winning all these tournaments. We always liked Niemann at windy locations. We liked Niemann at difficult courses, and that seems to have flipped since he's went to Live. That it just seems like, outside of Doral, I suppose, which Leishman ended up winning, that he's going to win at like minus 17 every single week, which is not that dissimilar from most PGA events, but at least you do get some PGA events, some of the more signature events that do play a little bit more difficult. But realistically, Rahm gave the tournament away, gave his chance to compete in this tournament away on 14 and 15 on Sunday. If he just makes birdie on both those like everyone else in the field did, then he's right there. And he actually has some pressure on Scottie, and then he's not forced to try to hit the perfect shot on 16 and on 17 and on 18. Like, it's tough to do when you're back by 4, like you're tied for the lead, then you're back by 3 or 4, whatever it was when he got to 17. Like, he had to go for the pin. That's just how it works. Like, he doesn't care about the FedEx Cup points. He doesn't care about the money. The only thing he cares about is winning. He needs to fucking stick that.
Yeah, he's already on the Ryder Cup team. Like, so, and you're absolutely right. So he missed like a 7.5 footer on 14. It was crushing for him and his hopes, and then didn't take advantage of 15. And you said it, Pat. Like, he gets up to 16, 17. He hits a double cross on 17. It's a shot that, as the announcer said, he doesn't try to hit very often, but where the pin was, what the score was, he tried to do it. But then hours later, Chambly is like, that's because he's on Live. That was crazy. Jon Rahm is going to it's going to be the same gorillas, maybe a couple more at Oakmont.
Yeah, I would say, and even to look at some of the guys that ended up pretty high on the leaderboard, like, most of the guys that you wouldn't expect to be there did end up faltering towards the end. Like, shout out to Vegas. He gets himself back into the PGA Championship. All they needed was Davis Riley to miss that putt on 18. If Davis Riley misses his 9-foot par putt on 18, Vegas, Pendrith, and Poston all get into the Masters next year. But it's only top 4 get into the Masters in ties, so it's Harris English. So Davis Riley basically gets himself in, but if he had missed, he would have got in anyway, and so would those other 3 guys. Thought that was kind of shitty. I did want to bring up the Scottie shot that I thought was the best of the week, though. It was his 3rd shot on 15 on Saturday. Him and Siwoo were in like kind of the same spot, but Siwoo's angle to the green was, especially to watch it on the reverse angle afterwards, that you didn't realize that Scottie basically had to clip over the bunker, land it on the downslope, and just the shot he hit was immaculate. And Scottie didn't even have his best stuff. Scottie had his best stuff for 6-hole stretches 3 times in this tournament, but he played pretty miserably on the front 9 Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. Felt very sloppy early, like just absolutely was just holding on without his best. And I didn't bet it, but I feel like I even said it on the Cut Sweat show and reiterated it on Saturday morning. I felt the 240 on Scottie after round 2 was more value than like the 480 5-1 pre-tournament. That might sound weird, but just based on like who was there, who was gone, and he hadn't played great yet. Like, Scottie was stuck in a mid-fest. And you said it, credit to Rahm. He made the day way more interesting for a period of time than we ever thought it would be. And him also, Pat. Rahm, there was like you mentioned Bryson and how you saw where the tournament could have been for him. Rahm also was not hitting pot. Like, even during our Cut Sweat show, he really gagged a few very, very makeable things. So he was not ever scoring as well as he was playing until the front nine yesterday.
Well, Saturday was his day. Like, everything went right for Rahm on Saturday to get himself back in this tournament. The thing with Bryson, I said this on the research show after that I did right after round 3, was that Bryson didn't steal anything the entire week. That there was no 55-foot eagle putt or birdie putt or gigantic par save. Like, he chipped the ball immaculately. He drove the ball great. He didn't even putt that poorly. He just, like, you just vividly remember these, and they're not even short misses. It's not like he's missing 2-foot putts. He's just blowing 8-footers by the ball. And that's a part of the approach play that I think that doesn't get talked about enough, because you can be 9 feet from the hole, but if Bryson is putting downhill, it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just blasting it. But he's trying to take the break out of it, where everyone else is like, even like Scottie's putting was great, especially from the mid-range. Just didn't feel like Bryson made any of those all week.
Very frustrating, especially like how uncomfortable he seemed above the hole on like 7.5 footers. The one on 12 sticks out from yesterday, but he's like it was like Finau in the mix.
Yeah.
Like how he like jabs the putt. And also hilarious. I mean, as Finau, he makes those 3 straight birdies, then goes to like the par 5, and like, man, just full. That's full Finau. That's what we call full Finau. But a nice week for him as well. Gotta say though, the player of the week outside of the winner is Alex Noren. I don't even know. Did he might have died yesterday? I don't even care.
He finished T17. I mean, his back 9 on Saturday was outrageous.
Hilarious.
He just made everything. Everything was going in. I remember when they cut to him on 15 and he jarred the bunker shot. I was like, oh shit, that's for eagle. I was like, no, it wasn't. It was for birdie. He was there. That was after his 3rd shot. He wasn't even playing that well. He just made everything. And that was the great equalizer of the week. And just like take a look at the guys that you didn't expect to be near the top of the leaderboard. And it was all putting. Like Davis Riley was all putting. JT Poston was they did other things well. Like Davis Riley was okay tee to green, but like the other guys were elite. JT Poston was pretty good on approach. He was okay around the green. He was like mid. He was like average, basically off the tee and around the green. Just of course, JT Poston's making them putts. Denny McCarthy, Joe Highsmith, even Siwoo. Siwoo was making everything. Ben Griffin was making everything. The guy that weirdly left Sunday on the table in my mind, that the true challenger to Scottie based on where he started and how he played, was Matt Fitzpatrick. And it was birdie or bogey. If he just was able to par a hole, he had everything going on the good holes. He just had nothing going on the bad holes.
Lovely to see him getting it going again. How many players? I asked this question on Twitter last night. Because, like, yeah, you hit a T5, you hit a T10, those are great. Like, if you made some money on something lovely, leaderboards are one thing, Pat. Tasting actual smoke is another. How many players in this week can we acknowledge, like, actually contended?
Like, would you say that Vegas contended?
Give him a half. Like, I kind of like he slept on the lead for 2 nights. He was in there. Like, it depends where we start. Because, like, if the guys who were like in the mix before Scottie exploded at the end of Saturday were in contention, then the list is longer. Like Alex Noren, for example, when he signed his scorecard on Saturday, he was contending. By the time Scottie finished his round, it didn't feel like he was contending anymore.
That felt like everyone, though. Like that means only one person contended. Yeah. I mean, I would say that Rahm contended. I would say that Bryson contended because Bryson kept getting back up there. So then you'd have to extend that same grace to Siwoo, Noren, Vegas, Fitzpatrick. What happened to where did Pavon finish? I don't think I saw a shot of his on Sunday.
Bro, it was who was the group? It was Pavon with it Pavon Fitzpatrick?
Pavon Fitzpatrick Vegas on Saturday. The final.
But the Sunday, I saw Pavon was like 5 over quickly in this Sunday. I never looked at him again.
Yeah, Pavon was 7 over. I throw stones at Mathieu Pavon, but I had Higo for low lefty, and he was the low lefty through 5 holes on Sunday, and he shot 9 over. Poor guy.
How much did JT lead the league week in putting by?
JT Poston?
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, on a per round basis, Akshay was the best on the greens, but Sam Burns was the best putter in the field of anyone who made the cut. He gained almost 8 strokes putting for the week. Siwoo was second. Highsmith. My guy Kevin Yu actually showed up with his putter and for the first time all year. Did not bring his tee to green game. Where is Poston? Posty was almost 5 strokes game putting. 5 strokes game putting. Basically, the numbers that he put up last week, that if he did it this week at Colonial, he'll win the tournament. Because that's exactly what you want to be doing. Like 6 on approach, 5 putting, that wins you Colonial.
Do we I feel like I noticed because I put out a post yesterday sort of like showing US Open lines asking who we like. I felt like Xander, obviously, I mean, he always keeps the people. But it seemed like he was the most popular response, I guess, in the middle of a great day yesterday. People thinking by the time we get to the US Open, the season reps will have been at a point where like it's time to win.
I would think so. I think it's Bryson, honestly, because there's no difference between the score that, I mean, I think that Oakmont's going to play harder, obviously. But with the way that Bryson played, it's not like it would be any dissimilar to how the U.S. Open is going to play, except when he hits the ball to 35 feet from 80 yards out in 2 putts, that's actually like pretty good at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
If he can just parse his -7 or -6, whatever he ended up being, to a month from now, he's going to win. And he has to get new balls though. It wasn't his problem. It was the balls problem. Okay. He's a robot, so he hits it the same every time. So it's impossible for him not to hit the ball exactly how he was trying to hit it. So it must be something with the manufacturer, with the golf ball, whatever it might be.
You're so
like, guy.
You're so right.
Like
imagine having this guy like all year.
He would be hated.
Imagine.
He would be hated. Like, people forget that, I mean, it's really flipped 180. And I like Bryson, too. I like Bryson through the bad times. I thought he was hilarious. But I get why he was grating on people, because it would just, he'd be at the fucking John Deere Classic doing this exact same thing.
And every time he, like, gains equity in your mind, he'd give it right back the next week at some stupid event saying the dumbest thing.
I thought
I like that Spieth comp. I like that, like, watching it. It's kind of like, you know, putting up with, like, watching Spieth.
But it's different because, like, when you watch Spieth, even when Spieth was, like, at his absolute peak, it really felt like he didn't have the skills that Bryson has. Like, I get, like, Spieth's a crazy person, and he's trying to talk through all these things, and he's beating up on himself, but he's a lot like Fleetwood in that sense that Spieth is the ultimate overachiever.
Yeah.
Bryson's supposed to be awesome. That's why we bet on Bryson. He's supposed to be awesome, and he is awesome. So to hear him be like, oh, like, my guy, you're playing golf outdoors. Maybe he would win every tournament at Cust indoor course because there would be no wind. But when the wind started to pick up, maybe don't hit the ball exactly the fucking same as you did all week. And then blame it on the wind. Like, oh, you know, I hit it really high and put a lot of spin on the ball, so the wind's going to take it. Well, maybe when there's 28 mile per hour gusts, maybe don't hit it that way. You know who didn't do that and played great in the wind? Scottie Scheffler. He started hitting like dead balls with very little spin up to the green. And guess what? His balls didn't roll into the water or roll off the green. They stayed where they were supposed to go. He changed how he played with the conditions. That's why he won.
It does feel like Bryson, for all the high-end golfers, really does struggle to like have to like change a game plan like on the fly in a moment. Where, you know, as much as Rahm hasn't played great in majors, he actually has one of like the simplest, shortest swings that, like, when it is going bad, his ability to like reset, I find is I don't know, maybe that's just me. I find quite admirable, but in a way, like Bryson sometimes, like he when the conditions just aren't there, it's like a football coach that like can't make adjustments.
That's exactly how it is, and that's why it's funny that I always thought that, again, obviously he's overcome playing at Augusta, but I always thought that's why winning the Open and winning Augusta would be so problematic for him. Not that he's won either of those, but he's put himself into pretty good contention at the Masters the past 2 years to win. But that course will just throw you some weird stuff from time to time. You'll get a weird lie. You'll get a ball on a hill that you're just not normally used to having. There could be huge wind gusts. And all of a sudden, he's discombobulated. He can't recalibrate in time. And the Open Championship is the ultimate example of this. However, at Portrush, like he's going to play an Open one of these years where it's one of those dead Opens where there's just no wind the entire week. And if that's the case, he could win there. But if you get...
He'll shoot minus 30.
Yeah, like he'll absolutely dominate these courses. But that's another one where you can't rely on the consistency of the lie. You might be somewhere. You might get a bad break. And it feels like he goes into orbit when all of this happens. And it's funny to think about. Like, there was guys slamming their clubs. Would you see Wyndham Clark throw his driver through the thing? I loved it. Like, I can't stand the pious Twitter people like, this is just disgraceful to the game. I love when pros throw their clubs. I'm like, I relate with that. Like, that's what I feel like doing. If I could afford a new driver every time, I would fucking snap my driver. I'd just be pissed off. But I can't, so I don't.
Okay, so if you want to like have a good laugh, go check out the Homo Wyndham Clark like Sunday box score. Insanity. They were both throwing clubs. I am with you. I mean, as long as there's like not a volunteer around,
there wasn't.
Throw a club. I don't care. Football players toss down their helmets. Guys go into a baseball dugout and like smash the bat rack. Like, yeah, throw a club. That's sports. Like it's healthy. It's very healthy for the sport for us to have a handful of club throwers. Or it's actually the best when it's guys who wouldn't throw a club get angry enough to throw a club. Like, that's when it hits the hardest.
For sure. They always cut away from Scottie doing it, just like they cut away from Siwoo smoking cigs all week. Oh, yes. I like that Siwoo basically picked up smoking.
Yeah, I love that. Rap got the quote, like, I'm old man. I'm stressed. I get it. Got a kid's birthday party here this weekend. Felt like Ben Affleck going outside for fucking air.
Did you have the party on Sunday or did you have it on Saturday? Because my sons we had yesterday, so I missed like the first 3 holes of whatever. It wasn't that big of a deal because Scottie
yesterday.
But by the time I got home, it was still a blowout, and then the lead started to shrink a little bit, and it made it so. Shout out to Scottie for making it somewhat entertaining, like giving me a reason to tune in before he then ran away with it again, ended up winning by 4 or 5, whatever it was. But my wife ordered these custom cupcakes for the kid's birthday party, and they had red icing. I don't know what was in this. I'm still trying to wash it off my hand. It was a fucking disaster. Yeah. There was just red all over the room. Like it just looked like a bloodbath in there with all this red icing. It's like we are not going to this place again. I don't know what red dye they used in this icing, but I couldn't get it off the table of the place that we were at. I was trying to scrub it out so we didn't get charged more, but now we got charged more.
RFK, it doesn't approve. Just the birthday. Honestly, and Saturday night when Scottie did what he did, I'm like, honey, good news. Tournament's over. Like, you've got me in full, right? I can be fully on the team, not like a part-time player. And so I was able to do that. But like, credit to Rom and Scottie, they played a role and it great for TV. Like, what a fabulous job. Rom hitting that putt on 11.
Oh yeah,
and we're all like, holy shit, game on. And I know, was it Saturday? I know you're a fan, like Rom Rock. I like the purple pants.
I like I like the purple pants too.
Yeah, I like it. I want to do one more note, and this might be an unfair time to do it, and I'm not going where you think I'm going, friends.
Is it?
I know Pat.
Is it Harris English is a lock for the U.S. Ryder Cup team now with a win and a second win in a major?
It wasn't Ryder Cup. But I just have a question for you. And this isn't the player who you think it's going to be. This is nothing to do with Megan. Who do you think gets the biggest free pass from golf fans?
Rory got the biggest free pass this week. Not doing any media. Playing like crap. And just, I think he was afforded enough grace after winning the Masters. He was just like, fuck it. I don't got it this week. Like, get me out of here.
Okay. For sure. Rory,
did
there a free pass? I'm not talking about this. Hold on.
Did Balionis take a shot at him during the Bryson interview? He's like, I know you didn't have to do this, Bryson, but thanks for your time. You taking a shot at Rory?
I didn't even put 2 and 2 together.
The biggest free pass?
Maybe from golf gambling Twitter. Golf Twitter. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's the biggest free pass.
Well, it depends. Like, no one gave Hideki or Ludwig shit about playing like ass, but no one cares enough, I guess. Like, you could say it's Morikawa. I mean, Justin Thomas didn't really receive any shit whatsoever. From
Not this week. Not this week. Like, just sort of like bigger picture.
Ludwig?
Nah, he's
Ludwig
still
gets-
young. He's won.
Fair enough, but he gets no heat for playing like shit at some of these big tournaments, ever.
You're right, but he's played well in like other ones, and he's got a nice win this year. And like people, I don't think realize he's 25, maybe. But sure, like Ludwig is still in like, because even last year we'd say like Ludwig is still, he's done too much to criticize. Maybe we're at the point where it's time to criticize.
I know the answer that you're gonna say. It just came to me.
Give it.
It's Cantlay.
No, because I do think he gets shed on, and maybe I'm just living in my own mind. Like I've accused the guy of like serial van psychopath. Rory has so many haters that I can't say he gets a free pass because he gets shit on a lot. I believe, and it's nothing to do with this week, and bringing it up now might not be fair because he did have a bit of a legitimate gripe. But between how this guy plays on Sundays,
Lowry,
and how this guy, is there ever a tournament where Shane Lowry is not doing one of berating a volunteer, berating a marshal, berating a fan, berating a media? Fat guy with a smile goes so fucking far. It takes you so far. The free pass that we give this guy, I mean, like, listen, I don't bet him. He's sort of like in a Russell Henley tier and Henley clip, like a guy I don't really bet. It seems like lots of people bet him a lot. He's sort of priced in a just above a Fleetwood area, so it's like he should be taking some heat. The way this guy, what he does on Sundays, and how every tournament happens, and this guy is in it with somebody, and usually somebody like a marshal, a volunteer, a fan. He is always in something. But it's never spoken about. I feel a bit mean doing it this week because what a horrible break he got. But just to hear like him, after like 2 days later, still yelling at a fucking reporter, whatever, man. Good, fuck off.
I feel, and I am more willing to give some Europeans grace on this as someone who is Canadian and moved to America. I liked it down there. Well, I didn't love New Jersey. I loved living in New York. That was fantastic. But a lot of these Euros hate living in America. I think it just makes them surly.
Okay, maybe like that is fair. These guys are not at home. American culture can be like, as we say, Bryson, like can grind on you. Like him 4 days having to deal with like Americans everywhere. Like I'm sure it's grinding. And the thing about Shane is anyone that knows him, like he is adored. Like his friends adore him. He is never not included to anything, I'm sure, in like social circles. An incredible time.
But he always
it seems like Shane Lowry is.
Always hangs with the UK guys. Always. You never see him out with anyone else besides the guys from home. I remember there's a big Bobby Mack thing when he first came over. Like, he was just like sad and lonely living in America for the first time. That's why his dad had to come over and be on his bag when he won the Canadian Open. Also, another reason why all these guys play the Canadian Open every single year.
Yeah, I guess.
You're
right.
But you don't think of it because this is the main tour. This is where you go make the main money. And it's no different. Remember all the Bubba stuff about playing in the Open Championship every year and everyone would just give him shit for it? But it's no different. It's that like you're just completely out of your element, even dealing with the fans. And he should be, listen, I'm not giving him a pass because he should be fucking used to it after 10 years. Like that's on him to have a bit more composure with this stuff. But even like the fans are completely different when you go to an event. The etiquette is completely different. Just the vibe is completely different. That if you're used to one thing, no matter how long it is, as long as you still identify and remember where you came from with that it can be jarring from time to time. Even the media is way different here. That he should be better at this. It's not an excuse for him, but it could be a reason why.
Yep. And I love you bringing up Bubba, like hilarious. He'd go to Europe. He would say the dumbest quotes. SEC country Bubba hating Europe was always like a fun Open Championship week like subplot for me.
But I'm sure he's not the only one. It's just he's the one that would like.
And he's a major champion, so he was sort of in profile spots for a few years there.
For sure. And
right?
he would actually give quotes on some of this stuff that made him feel like, what are you talking about, Bubba? The other guys are smart enough to keep their mouth shut.
That's true. Anyways, I just wanted to do that Shane rant. But hey, like I'm not even saying this to be mean. It's just true. Like one Open Championship feels like 8 years ago. Like gets you a lot of fucking equity.
Well, it
Like
was
it just does.
it doesn't feel like 8 years ago. It was 7 years ago at this point, or 6 years ago, I suppose, since it was last at Portrush. But I'll have a chance. The difference, I think, between him getting some grace and some of the other guys that I brought up, like no one gives Hideki shit ever. No one really gives Finau any shit. People give Morikawa shit because he's supposedly a top 5 player in the world, or a guy that you expect to contend every single time, and just some of the off the course stuff as well. But that's why no one considers, even though Lowry might be a fringe top 10 player, no one really thinks about him that way. And that's the same thing with Henley. No one really thinks that he's a top 10 player in the world. He just kind of is based on some results and great finishes, but no one considers him to be that. Like if I asked you to name the top 10 players in the world right now, you think Mab McNeely would be in it?
You're absolutely right. And like most fans out there don't associate Shane Lowry with like his data golf ranking.
Yeah, or winning. Like, no one expects him to win.
But like if you load up that like Sunday CV, it's just
not good.
anyways.
It's not good.
It's yeah, and listen, Shane and Ludwig and Colin, just like very disappointing major seasons thus far.
Well, no, not really. Ludwig was top 10 at the Masters.
It's like I forgot. Like Rory broke my brain. I forgot Bryson at the Masters.
Well, think about this. I thought this was somewhat interesting to think about as well, because we just talked about Shane Lowry being a loser on Sundays. If Rory doesn't miss 2 2-foot putts on Sunday at Pinehurst last year, isn't the narrative around Bryson that he's a loser on Sunday?
Yeah, we wouldn't. Well, congrats, man. You nabbed Live Korea.
Yeah,
like we wouldn't be giving that anything. Not that we even are. Yeah, you're probably right, I guess. If Rory just hit those putts.
Yeah, because he
funny thing about Rory is Rory could, like, if he won 2 or 3 more majors in his career, we're not surprised. But if he won no more and he like redid another drought, I don't think I'd be that shocked either.
No, he'd pick up 2 more Players Championships, win a race to Dubai, win a FedEx Cup, and just come third at a bunch of majors.
Yeah, Rory now, like all he's got to do, Olympic gold is his like last thing, he said.
So Scheffler gets there. It's just, this is the problem with golf right now, is that Scottie's too good and Scottie's just a big nothing burger. He's not a person that no one dislikes Scottie Scheffler. He seems like a real good dude. And like, he actually seems like a pretty fun hang at the same time. Like it's not that he has no charisma, but there's just something about him that just, someone comped him to Tim Duncan, and it seemed like the best comp in the world.
I never heard that, but like, holy shit, the like fire, like flashing lights of green lights of that is on the nose. Him, like smashing his hat down yesterday felt like out of place.
It seemed really weird. I was like, oh boy.
And listen, like it's obviously the more comfortable hat. I would wear the hats that like Finau wears and like Tommy's caddy, but like Rory and Scottie wear like the more like flimsy Tennessee hats, which are probably better for performance.
Hey, I wear the Robert Rock hat on the course, and I wear the Ollie Schneider Jans. That's the most comfortable you can be. Because Scottie, honestly, like only being 28 years old when he slammed down the hat, he's like 4 years away from having a Stewart Sink tan line.
I know it's hyperbolic, like the morning after, because if you asked me the morning after, like Rahm's Masters, like what would I have said? But like Scottie Grand Slam, like just feels inevitable.
I mean,
it does.
If he,
like, it just does.
I may have been Vincenzi that said it. I maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but it's very clear that Scottie can win majors with his B- game. And it takes one of these other guys to actually play their A game to beat him. And I completely agree with that. So if Bryson doesn't bring his A game to Oakmont, he's not going to win. He's not going to be a Bryson B+ is not beating a Scottie B-. A Bryson A is beating a Scottie B-. If Scottie plays A golf, I feel like he's unbeatable.
Which is crazy in the sense, well, the best player in the world playing A golf. But the fact that everyone else has to play A to win or to beat him, like I was dumb enough to think we were in some like golden era of hyper competitiveness.
We
Like
are
the interchangeable, like I thought it was going to be like these interchangeable runs of the best player. I was like, clearly I was wrong. There's a period of time where I was like, no, I still think Rom before Liv. I still think Rom might be better than this guy. Like, no, like, laughable.
Rom had this run, and then Scottie took that run from him, and then just started this run on his own that he's still going on right now. But it's not even so much that, like, yeah, I mean, we always said, and I might be wrong. Let's say Scottie has his A- game and Rory has his A+ game. At his very peak, if things go well for 72 holes, I think Rory is the best player. But Scottie's biggest thing is that he's at worst B-. He doesn't have these D rounds like Rory does, or these C- rounds that Bryson does. Like his bad round was Friday when he shot 2 under and didn't have it.
Same with Thursday. Like his floor is so high. It's almost not fair. And we're gonna get into Colonial here in a moment.
And not bet him.
Not bet him, but like Pat, the guy won out of the Masters, which I crazily enough said was one of the, in my mind, like as insane an accomplishment as there was on the calendar year outside of the majors last year, was him winning the week after winning the Masters. The PGA Championship is such like a lower vibe than the Masters that it doesn't even feel like, and this field is shit. That Heritage field is stacked. It doesn't even feel like it's like a crazy, like just feels normal. Like he's going to piggyback a major into a jabroni field, bordering his major win with 2 shitty fields in Texas. It's done.
The final thing I want to say about the PGA Championship, I guess 2. People complained about it being played at Quail Hollow, and I can see how that is boring. It's a good major championship venue. It's hard. It's scoreable and it's hard.
I thought they did a great job, and if you want to be fair and balanced, I'll apologize a bit. And they can't control the weather. They just can't. And what that course probably would have been early in the week if it didn't get the onslaught of rain. Granted, it's Carolina in May, high probability of rain. But yeah, that course without the rain would have been even harder. And I thought they did, by the end of it, full marks. Great job. Do I want to go to a course I want to learn about? Did it just, does it, as a hardo, does it feel less right? Yeah. But in the end, I like 2 thumbs up. Good for them. Good for the PGA Championship, who really continues, in my opinion, like in terms of course setup, like has crushed it year after year. Last year got away from them, but go look before that. They're on a run right now.
Final thing that I didn't share during the tournament was the email that I got last week from the PGA of America, Jeff. I still can't believe it.
I couldn't believe it either. I could not believe it was real. I couldn't believe, they talked to you like they were doing you a favor. Here, it left such a bad taste in my mouth. I guess go ahead and share it.
I think it just shows how wildly out of like where their priorities are at. So I got a cease and desist letter. I mean, they didn't want to involve. They did me a favor by not involving the lawyers in it because I was using the logo for the 2025 PGA Championship on the thumbnails on YouTube. They're like, you need to take that down or we're suing you. That's our property. It's like, what? Like, I'm talking about your tournament. Like, shouldn't that be a good thing for you? No, can't use our stuff. Can't do it.
Yeah. So the official tournament logo that, the fancy looking Q that said PGA Championship, and they had issues with it being plastered on on the thumbnails for the content.
The Masters,
in some ways it's like flattering.
The Masters didn't care.
The Masters did not care, and the PGA is coming to you. It's so pathetic. In some ways, like it's a little flattering to be like that they even notice. Like you're big enough where like it's a small problem annoyance for them that they say something. That's the only like flattery of it. But I cannot believe they resorted to this. I mean, I get as they stated to you, you may have an agreement with the PGA Tour, which we do here, but the PGA of America is not the PGA Tour, Pat. So don't be confused that you can use our stuff.
Yeah.
That being said, all you've ever done is try to promote this niche sport. That was the worst performance of the week.
It just blew my mind. And not that I went and took all the stuff down. Like, it was fine. I made new thumbnails. It wasn't a big deal.
No, we're not.
On my end, it's like, I don't want to piss you off. I don't want to get into a legal battle over a fucking YouTube thumbnail. It's fine. I'll get rid of it right away. But come on. This is what you're up to? PGA Championship week? This is of concern to you? Just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
They treated it like they were doing you a favor because they didn't have to ask you politely. They just could have involved lawyers.
Yes. They didn't have to reach out. They could have sent me, they could have sent the team of lawyers up to Halifax to knock on my door.
I'll be honest. It almost seems like the person who told you was doing you the favor is also the person who like ratted you out.
100%. 100%.
Like, I've informed my bosses about this. They will get legal involved, but
Because we have a relationship, I'm letting you know.
Yes, thank you. I mean, don't worry. We'll have that Charles Schwab logo plastered big this week.
Yeah, I don't have to deal with Mr. Schwab, but if he wants to come at me too, he's got probably deeper pockets.
Definitely deeper pockets than the PGA of America.
Yeah, so here we are. Let's move on to Colonial, because one of my, this is a part of the Pat Mayo swing, part of the courses that I really like. Accuracy going to be at a premium this week at Colonial, the longest running tournament on the PGA Tour. Almost 7,300 yards now, so not as long, not as short as maybe it can be in your mind. But as I spoke about on the research show, Geoff, there's a lot of hidden distance on this course, but it's the opposite way of Riviera, where Riviera plays, I think, 73, 74 as a par 71, but it's actually a lot longer than that because you have that dinky par 4, you have a really short par 3, and a really short par 5. The other 15 holes are absolute monsters. Here, you have one super long par 5, I think this is 645 now, and 4 really long par 3s. You take out those 5 holes, then all of a sudden you just have like a hit and giggle par 4 fest, which kind of opens it up to everyone in the field. The issue is the guy at the top of the board has won 2 tournaments in a row, including Sunday. Scottie is playing, and he's plus 240 to win this tournament. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not playing the without Scottie market, but him being in this tournament at what could be somewhat of an equal. Listen, if Scottie plays well, he's going to win. If Scottie plays his C-plus game, he's probably going to win. But there are outs for lesser players in this field to win because distance isn't that big of a deal. Being overly accurate helps. Being really good with your wedges helps, and you can sun run on these greens.
So I guess the question is, would I rather be betting Ryan Gerard at 80-1 with Scottie or like 38-1 without him?
Yeah, I'm not going to go to the non-Scheffler. There was only one guy I thought about playing.
No, I mean, like, if not without market. I mean, if he wasn't in the field.
Oh, yeah.
What are everyone's odds you want to bet if Scottie isn't in this tournament? And that was sort of the point. Like, Scottie being here gives me like double odds or like 70% odds boost on everyone.
Let's see. Scott betting with
70 is too much.
Let's see what Gerard would still be 40. Gerard is 45-1 in the no Scottie market.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. That's what I'm gonna bet him 80. Tease.
You're betting Custy Gerard, huh?
Yeah. Custy G. But to your point, this feels like on the tee sheet, on like the scorecard, you wouldn't think I want to bet the same guys I'd like at the Wyndham, but maybe you do want to bet the players you'd want to bet at the Wyndham.
You do. Wyndham Championship, Sony Open, Heritage, RSM, Colonial. These are all the same sorts of players that do well there. In fact, I'm going to bet 3 guys that do well at those courses. I'm not betting Scheffler at plus 240. If you want to take your money and just dump it on Scottie, he's come second, third, and second each of the past 3 years at this course. Like, he's really due for a win at Colonial. I think that's why he keeps coming back.
Texas, He's not going to play again till Memorial and then the U.S. Open.
Correct. Well, Memorial's next week.
Oh shit! Yeah, I don't know why I thought Canada was next week.
No, Canada's the week before.
Which would have meant
They switched it up last year, didn't they?
no, a couple years ago, even the year before Oakdale. But it's okay. Canada's benefited because now there's just a handful of higher end players that like want to play weeks before majors when that wasn't the case for a while.
I like it, and I don't like the run of signature event into a major or signature event coming out of a major, because that's what we get here as well. Because we get travelers coming out of the U.S. Open. I just spread it out a bit.
Yeah, I hate it, but we've spoken about it before. This was the players. This was the gift from the tour to the players.
So Scottie,
like you're gonna peak for the majors. Come play the week after, no cut. You've already peaked for your game the week before. Why not just continue what you've tried to establish in a no cut event where we'll pay you all the shekels?
So the top odds, if we're not betting Scottie, Spieth is next at 22, which is laughable. Not that he's 22, it's just he's second on this board. When I did the research show, he was so far down in the world rankings, I forgot that he was playing. Berger, Fleetwood, Hideki are all 25 to 1. All the odds are presented by CoolBet, by the way. CoolBet.com. You can use the code down in the description to get yourself a bonus. And there is a Cliffs and Cabot Links giveaway that all you got to do is, with your CoolBet account, is opt in to that contest, and maybe you'll be in my part of the world in September, just after Labor Day, playing two of the best courses. In Canada, it's a once-in-a-life golf trip opportunity. You can join CoolBet if you're in Canada, outside of Ontario. Highly recommend that you do that. They got 25 on Berger, Fleetwood, and Hideki. Mav McNeely's 33. Bobby Mack is 40, so is JT Poston. And then we're already down to Harris English and Davis Riley. I could see blindly betting Harris English after last week, after his Sunday. He seems like a perfect fit for this course. I bet Berger at 25.
Berger makes a ton of sense. English makes a ton of sense. I've gone a little further back while looking at both of those guys for my first bet. But yeah, Berger, even... You're gonna laugh at me. I don't know if they'll get there, but like Tommy even seems like a decent fit on this golf course. Harris English seems like the most popular bet going this morning.
He should be the most popular bet. I think he makes a ton of sense here. The one thing is he can almost complete the slam here. Does he have the Wyndham? He does have. I thought he won the Wyndham. No, that was Henrik Stenson who ended up winning that year. He's not playing well, but this should be a great Hideki course.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Sony.
I thought he had won the Wyndham, but that was not the case. He was third at Wyndham in 2016.
Wouldn't Mav fit the bill here as well?
His irons are never really that good. Like, this is all irons, all putting. That'd be my only drawback. Maybe he just has a great irons week because you would expect him to make some of those putts. You know who ranks dead last in my model this week from Fantasy National?
Who?
Michael Block. Your guy. Blocky.
Listen, it was big. You know how much I've gotten on the internet in the last day that Neiman now has the most amount of major T10s as Block?
That's not true, by the way. I think people forget that Block didn't finish inside the top 10 at that PGA Championship.
If you asked me to guess, I would have said 6th. I swear to God, that's like the way it's spoken about.
He was 15th at that PGA Championship.
What the fuck?
He had to make that up and down to get back in for the next year.
Oh, good for him. And what did he blame the crowds?
Yeah, the crowds weren't big enough for him. Or
I
they
did.
were too
He
big.
wasn't.
I forget which one. I think it was a joke.
But he wasn't the only player who seemed to be taking shots at the early week crowd, Pat. And I would say that is a byproduct of Quail Hollow. Now, what I mean by that is Charlotte area golf fans are not starving to see world-class golf. It comes every single year. The caveat is this year it came with like a 6x price increase. So I think a lot of those fans were like, I'll just go back next year for the Wells Fargo and pay what I normally pay. So I did see a lot of players complaining at how almost like barren some holes were with fans early in the tournament. Just saying that out loud. Yeah, Harris, Berger, Makes a lot of sense. I could see myself being on Berger because they're not. I don't have many of my own losers in this field, so I'm gonna have to create a few. But Berger, I'd say, is like bet your own losers. I can bet Berger.
Berger was the victor here at the first event at a COVID. If you don't remember that, against everyone.
Didn't Neiman and Xander mix? Seemed like
Yeah.
a fun one.
Yeah, Xander missed that 2-foot putt to miss the playoff, and Morikawa lost in the playoff, I believe.
I like someone in the next grouping.
So out of all of those guys, like Hideki will get my attention, and just Berger played really well at the PGA Championship. I believe he lost 6 strokes putting over the course of the week.
I want to say
He shot 3 under on Sunday, so maybe he started to get it back a little bit. Yeah, he only ended up losing 2.5, but he was -4 through 2 rounds. He was actually up there tee to green. He gained over 8 strokes tee to green over the course of the 4 days. And he does it with what you want to see here. Accuracy, putting, wedges, that's the entire Berger game.
I just note that like Friday night, I saw people saying like he was hitting it almost as well as anyone and couldn't make putts. So does seem like a nice former champ. Does seem like a guy that would fit here well.
So
I'm
here-
gonna go.
So I was going to throw this out because we went past that range. Like, do you have any, like, are you going with defending champ Davis Riley here coming off a great week? Because it feels like he will be a very popular bet as well. Another guy who did really well in the wind by changing how he hit his shots.
Listen, it's lovely to see Riley play. He had one of my favorite press moments of the week as well. He just sort of acknowledged, Pat, that like you get to this level in pro golf, you win a bit, and like you're obsessed with like changing something or getting even better. Well, like, because like the mundane of doing what you're doing is just like boring. But he's just like gone back to just loving the mundane of doing what he does well and just doing that and not trying to like fix himself because that, created a disaster scenario. So it's good to see him back. I was thinking about all our friends, maybe you too, who were betting him like totally mispriced, like 200 to ones in some of these lower end events. He'd play well, obviously not win. And then to see him up there this last week was just like mind-boggling, truth be told.
Yeah, he was not on. Although my stats told me that he was good, I was like, there's no way Davis Riley's doing this in a PGA Championship. No thanks. I'll bet the guys who missed the cut by 8 strokes. That'll be my play.
But I have made a bet just above the numbers we're talking.
About like in terms of longer odds or shorter odds?
Longer. Like I got a 45 to 1 in the chamber.
Aaron Rye?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense to me.
It doesn't have the putting. You hope it can spike. You hope he can get hot with it. But, I think Wyndham Championships, like, yeah, Aaron Rye.
One note that I'll have in my article a little bit later today, I brought it up on the research show, is just the form of putting that people have coming in to this tournament, which is frankly very surprising. I was not expecting to see that kind of pop up. Where is the Wyndham? The past 5 winners have all shown not necessarily spike putting coming in, but consistent putting coming in, like gaining 5 of their past 7, 4 in a row, that kind of thing. And just that's the one thing that led me a bit astray on Rye, because I think logically he makes a ton of sense with how he plays golf. Just that the putter is worrisome for me, because you have to make putts here or you're screwed. Like, even when Griot won, Griot was on a hot run of putting. I think he gained in 4 straight coming in.
Yeah, Griot was in form. We were on him. That was awesome.
I was not.
Oh. It was like when the ball in the playoff went in like the drainage and started going like 100 yards backwards.
He had to hit it off the cart path too.
He's been, I don't know if he's ready for this week, but he's been slowly ticking up. He's always there's always like a long warm up before we see Pete Grillo.
Let's see. He actually kind of fits the mold a little bit. He's gained in 3 of his past 4, like 2 big spike putting performances. The approach has been getting better. We know he's going to be accurate off the tee. What are Griot's odds this week?
100?
Yeah, he's only 100. There's guys at 100. I bet 2 guys beyond 100 that I like more. So.
Oh, I bet 1.
Oh, who is it? Tell me.
125 over at Phillip Rivers. I bet Hitsetsune.
Okay. So you bit Hisatune. I was giving him a look as well. I had two other guys. I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do with the rest of my card. So you're basically you looked at the Wyndham Championship leaderboard last year and just made those bets?
Well, Hitsune's been playing well. Like I don't know, he always impresses me. And I don't know. I'm also looking at like Nico 150 back here too, but we'll get there.
That one's already in the chamber.
Okay, yeah, there it is. Yeah, I mean that like anyone been watching golf for the last like 6 months, I'm sure that stuck out.
You got to play. I think you got to play these guys with the each way though, with Scottie in the field. Like instead of playing the non-Scottie market, I will sacrifice some of the total upside that if these guys can finish inside the top 8, that I'm still going to win this week.
Would you be starting your like each way, your like threshold for it shorter? Like you're not betting Berger with placings, are you?
I'm not betting Berger with placings. Like the only guy. So if we go down to this like next level, so you just kind of talked about Aaron Rye. He was in that sort of like 50-1 tier. The guy that I was looking at, I don't know if I'm going to get there. He ended up entering the field late because he missed the cut. His putting's been great, and I just think we've now got a better price on him again. I don't know if I want to do it with the each ways. I might not. But Akshay's 70-1. It's a big number for a guy who does exactly what this course demands. Fairways, irons, putting. He rarely matches all three of those up in the same week, but he does it enough that I feel good about betting him at a big number.
I mean, also, if we rank this field in terms of what we believe their ceilings are, I mean, like he's in the top 6, right? Top 8.
Let's
top
take
5.
We'd say Scottie, by far number 1. I would probably put Hideki number 2 in terms of upside. Yep. Then you're probably into Fleetwood, Bobby Mack is the next 2, and then Siwoo. Like
Siwoo, Matt, like,
and then Mav, Spieth, Bob. Yeah,
like he's like relative to 80-1 on Boccia might be a blind like talent play here.
Especially at this course as well, because this course suits what he does well.
And you mentioned that he just putted better than Poston last week, or better than him.
Poston ended up being like 11th in putting. I mean, he putted great, but just amongst the guys,
everything on TV went in. So
yes, I mean that's the only reason to show him when everything on TV goes in. No, of players in the PGA Championship, he gained over 5 strokes putting in 2 rounds. He just did nothing else at all because he melted late. Remember?
Yeah. Oh, Boccia melted late, like to miss the cut.
Yes. Yeah, because he fell to +2, and that was the end of him.
There's someone right in front of him that also might have my eye. Harry Hall. 75?
I got him at 80 at Coolbet. He is
80?
Do you remember when he had this tournament won and then he didn't? That was the Griot year.
No, I don't, but I should because I was probably very happy about it. He seems like I mean, holy shit, did he putt well at the PGA? He's known to be able to putt well. Seems this might be a bet for me, 75-80.
Yeah, he was Charles Schwab. Yeah, that's actually a really good shout. So I'm going to write his name down. I'm going to write down Rye and Hall and Akshay because I haven't bet any of those guys yet. I'll throw them into a bucket together. Yeah, 3rd at the Charles Schwab 2. I just remember he was up by like 8 strokes going into the weekend and then, went full Harry Hall on us all. Let's see here. Where's Harry Hall? Harry O. Yeah, he was 62 in the first round, 66 in round 2. Then he was 72, 73 on the weekend and came in 3rd.
Whatever. Feels like he's won since then. Like I can make a case he's like just might be more comfortable in a situation. If it's not versus Scottie, like outside of like if you bet any of these guys, Pat, like any of these guys like 60, 80, 150-1, outside of maybe getting mixed with Scottie, Hideki, or Spieth, because like what the crowd would probably be like I'm happy to go head to head with any of them for a tournament. Like I'm not afraid, I guess, of like what they'd have to overcome.
Sure. Yeah. Even if it was against Hideki, I probably wouldn't be sweating it that much. It's really just Scottie. And it's not even going head-to-head with Scottie. It's just that Scottie's all of a sudden up by 7 strokes on you. That's what I do.
Yeah, you get like you get EVR. Like I picked the guy who came in second, lost by a touchdown to Scottie.
I really wish Glover was putting better because this seems to be a course where Glover would do really, really well. because it fits. I'm just looking at the best accuracy players that I like in the field. Like Corey Pavin is in the field this week, and he is third in fairways gained. But you have Lucas Glover, Daniel Berger, Aaron Rye. They're all inside the top 10. Fleetwood and Scheffler are both inside the top 15. This is looking long term. Then you got Harmon, who just won in Texas, by the way. Lee Hodges, Siwoo, Tom Kim, Rico Hoey, Svensson, Cooch, Bhatia, Hubbard, Griot. Man, Griot might have to be a bet. Doug Gim. Can Doug Gim ever putt? Just once? Eckroat.
I don't mind. Eckroat might not be a bad call here.
Eckroat's deep on the board, too. He's like 170. That might be the move here. Just like, my horse at the top will be Berger, and then it just might be like Berger, Akshay at 70, and then 5 guys from beyond 100 to 1. Eckroat hasn't made a putt since he won in the swing season, basically.
Yeah, I'd like to do nothing because it's going to get expensive in the next month.
Yeah, just roll with the guys that you want to. So that gets us to long shots. So I had 2 that I went over on the research show that I felt fit this really well, and I was actually quite surprised at what their odds were. I bet Nico, as you mentioned, 125 to 1 with 8 places, and I bet Eric Cole 110 to 1 with 8 places. Cole's hole. He's finding the hole. I don't have a Cole Kane problem like Cam does, but I'm willing to get in this week. He did me good at Sony. It's the only time that I bet him so far this year. He got his top 5 for me. If he just gets his top 8 for me this week, it is a perfect opportunity for him to pay me some more money here. And he was good at the PGA Championship. Continues to putt well. That's coming back. The approach play is coming back. He's bad off the tee, but he hits fairways. That's all I really care about here. Hoagie was the other one that I wanted to give a look at too.
I noticed Hoagie because it was right beside my Hitsetsune. Yeah, and the thing about Cole, Pat, is like you'll do a bunch of it. Maybe it'll go great, but you're not gonna wake up next week jonesing to do it again.
That's exactly right. Yeah, when you bet Eric Cole and it doesn't go well and you don't have the best time, when you're sweating and you're up all night, that I'm not wanting to be there next Thursday morning and like, man, give me some more Eric Cole. And I'm like, no, I'm done with that. That's good enough.
Exactly. You're going to a friend's bachelor party this weekend, so you're getting off the mat. Bud Cauley, I've seen 100 to 1 also. I think.
There's a lot of guys that you can make the cases for down here because I mentioned Griot and Hoagie. They're all at 100 to 1 and beyond. Neil Shipley's playing in this tournament. And I like Neil Shipley. I just don't know if I want to go with him here. I don't think it's the right skill set for Thorbjornsen. Like, I'm really going to lean on the accuracy guys. You mentioned Hisatune. Hoey's at 125 to 1. What I might do, like I said, is go Berger, figure out. I got Berger, Nico, and Cole in the chamber. Those are already bet. The last 2 with the placements up to 8. And then maybe take another 3 guys from beyond 100 to 1 and then just bet those 5 guys first round leader too.
You said Thorbjornsen. And I got to tell you, through all this PGA Championship, I was having visions of the money I will lose on Thorbjornsen in that swing of the schedule. That's like Detroit, John Deere. Have we been to Minnesota yet?
We have not been to Minnesota yet.
Like that part, like, is he going to be like 35 to 1 when we get to that part? Because it seems like he's doing the things that like I don't know. Expecting nothing. I was just impressed. I'm ready to bet him at short numbers when it gets back to like that shitty part of the schedule. That's all. Just
I'm with you. He feels like the next guy, although Clanton is making his debut in Canada. Yeah. Like Thorbjornsen. The Thorbjornsen Clanton card for Canada looks pretty good.
Oh, man. Based on what I've heard from people who have been there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, there's 2 bodies on the Canada card. Where were you? Willie Z 100 in this field, eh?
He looked like he was hurt when he was playing. It looked like the back was really bothering him. He was on one of the feature streams. I just caught a bunch of them on Friday morning, and boom, just did not look good.
Yeah, I don't see myself going like into the crazy bombs because there's enough that I'm sort of licking my lips about in that like 125, 150 range. We've sort of mentioned them that I got no interest in like Bo Hostler or Andrew Putnam.
Remember when people were telling us on Friday, like, oh my God, Alex Smalley, he's so good. Every time he gets in contention, he quadruple bogeys a hole, I think.
A bunch of guys who weren't supposed to be around got out of there quickly on Saturday.
Yeah, Vegas stuck around for longer than I thought he was going to. But Tim ruined his week.
We didn't talk about him, but just going a little back up the board, like Mac Hughes at 70 for this place. Doesn't seem like a decent fit based on, I don't know, maybe I'm just going by people. He's a favorite who almost won a swing season alternate.
He just doesn't.
A couple weeks ago.
He doesn't hit fairways at all.
Your boy Michael Kim.
I like Michael Kim here, although he said he's still dealing with the back. That's not great.
No, winning's hard enough. I don't want to bet on an injured guy who doesn't win. It's not a knock on Mike, but just he's playing great.
And Scottie's winning every tournament, so I do want to keep I want to keep the exposure to long bets that end up with, if they come inside the top 8. If one of them comes inside the top 8, I win for the week. And then if 2 of them come inside the top 8, I win a lot for the week, which would be nice.
Yeah, I think I'm going to lose money this week, sort of like the same way I lost money at the CJ Cup. My card might have a lot of names on it, but I promise I'm investing like way less money than I'll be investing. I invest in other events. I'm certain of it.
Let's get to the quick picks and the one and done for the Charles Schwab Challenge. I've bet Berger at 25 to 1. I've bet Nico at 125 and Eric Cole at 110. Nico and Eric Cole both with 8 places on the each way. And then I'm going to linger around Hoagie, Akshay, Hisatune, and then maybe Ryan Hall. We'll see. Depends.
You said English too. No?
And English. Yeah, I'll throw English on there. But I feel like if I don't bet English right now as I'm speaking, I'm going to miss out on the best number.
If you do not bet English early, I don't think they'll be 40s, just based on what I've seen on the internet.
There's a 50 right now.
Good luck. For me, quick picks: Rye, 45; Gerard, 80; Hitsetsune, 125. That's what's in the chamber. I'm always a sucker for good players, so I will be swimming around that Berger because he is one of my few losers here, as is Tommy. But no, we're retired. We're just gonna cheer for you, Tommy. You mentioned Baccia and Hall, as Pat mentioned, and Nico. I haven't bet it yet, but that just seems way too high.
So one and done for the week. I get to pick because Bryson beat your Neiman, as it turns out. Did you change your one and done last week from Rory to Neiman? That worked out really well for you, but Bryson came in second, so I end up with it. I've taken a pretty big lead here. I'm like double what you guys are at now after Bryson's one. Kind of got screwed a little bit. I had Bryson in the big one and done, as did 39 of the top 50 people, and I lost 2 places.
Yeah, I mean that's part of like the game theory, right? Of that. But honestly, I know it sounds, even like after the fact he didn't win, I wasn't on like Vincenzi level confidence, but I was as confident as I've ever been in an outright bet this week with Bryson. And credit to those who swerved, like I do on Odds Checker thing with Andy Lack. He was Scheffler single bullet. It was like, I think it wasn't knocking us on like Bryson at 16 or 18 to 1. But by the time Bryson got down to like 8 to 1, 850, it was like, what did you people do here? What did you people do? And, he was right. One and done. Did you name someone?
No, because I was going to take Berger, but I've already used Berger, which means I will use... screw it. I'll use Nico. Nico Echeverria, wow. One and done.
That is something.
Playing with house money over here.
Yeah, listen, you've got a lead, so you should almost like be picking like a high floor player.
Yeah, I mean, Harris English is probably the pick, but screw it. Tim is taking Joe Highsmith as his one and done.
Are you kidding me?
No, that's who he's taking. That's who he texted me.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that just caught me a little off guard. Have I used Berger?
I'm going to guess that you have because you love Berger.
I got it. I got it right here.
No, you have not used Berger.
All right. We'll throw Berger on for me.
Flip that Berger. Try to get you back up in the standings.
Burger time, Colonial. Let's go. The winner always gets like this awesome
Jacket.
jacket. There's a car. There's like some fancy classic Cadillac or something. They're always driving away with.
Really?
This place been good to me. Grillo, Kevin Na.
I had a big Coke rack here.
Yeah. So I feel like I should feel it, but this whole Scottie thing, I think we're all drawing dead friends. Like just yeah, big trouble. Does Scottie go to Memorial?
Yeah, he usually wins it. He won at Memorial last year over.
Oh yeah, he
Morikawa.
won. Oh yeah, Morikawa. Why was I thinking Denny?
No,
Hovland beat Denny.
Victor beat
Yeah.
Denny.
Yeah. Okay. Couple of weeks, friends. Live show. If you're in the Toronto area, get in on it. We're gonna have a gonger.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. I'm actually looking like we're going to play golf together. We're doing a team dinner on the Friday night. We're doing the show on Saturday and hanging with everyone who comes afterwards, and maybe even try to steam whistles right next door. So we just plop over there and keep having beers after the show. It's going to be a ton of fun. Is your wife coming to the show?
Yes,
She is.
she's bringing. I've never met the guy, but she's friends with his wife, and he's a big fan of ours.
Awesome.
Yeah. So there go. That is going to be her. That's going to be her +1.
So, reminder to everyone, I mean, including your wife's friend, go to the description and buy tickets to this thing.
Yeah.
You're not
I mean, I'd probably like the guy if he's a fan of our show. He'd probably like the same things, and he can at least doesn't hate my craziness.
That's good. All right, that'll do it for us. Smash the like while you're here. Sub to the channel. Code Mayo at Underdog. Use that extender promo that you saw in the ad a little bit earlier. 2 game 1 starting in the NBA, and you can really ratchet up the profit boost as you go along, as long as you start playing in game 1 into game. What is it?
Byron just sent me a bet that he's made, a bet slip. He bet $1 on Corey Pavin to win 5,000 this week.
Why?
It's if you know, you know. I guess he's referring to the stat, like, well, he's third in the field in something. I don't know.
Yeah, he was third in the field in fairways.
I guess that's what we need to know. Corey Pavin, 5,001. Good luck, Byron.
All right, yeah, well, let's see it this week. You can bet on that too. I do not recommend that one, but you can tune into Byron and Kenny Monday night on the Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast here on Mayo Media Network. So please sub to the channel, smash the like while you're here too. All right, I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience.